Hello, I'm Jeff Bloodrain, and welcome back to another episode of 3 Games That Are Scary. Today, we were playing the game Funeral, and I got the page pulled up on my phone. So, it says, a tale of hold on. Okay. A tale of existential horror. Attend a funeral and discover the dark secrets that have torn a family apart. So, with that being said, let's find out what the secrets are in Funeral. You are in this bleak funeral home. I've missed a few people. I'm going to put my mic down a little low so I can read the text better. Do you know them? They look familiar, but you're not sure if you've ever seen them before. It is maddening. This sense of familiarity. For some reason, you are certain that you ought to be knowing who they are. Yet, why can't you remember their names? The funeral service appears to not have started yet. The mourners stand before the casket, nameless and lost in thought. Who are they mourning? Why are they even here? The coffin is slick, of dark Avion. The coffin of a poor man. The picture atop it, that face. Is that your picture? Wait, so we die? Were we at our own funeral? Yeah. A sense of alarm and disorientation grips you. What is happening? How can your photo be atop of that coffin? A knowledge arises, like the rising of some dark tide, a horrific memory. Then it recedes before you can identify it. You turn to the mourners, just a handful of people really, about 4 or 5. Hanging back in the shadows, only 3 people are in the front now. Clearly, the dead man wasn't very popular. You approach the 3 nearest the coffin. They look at you unseeingly as if they are looking past you. Maybe we are at a funeral. A woman is in her 50s. Did your eyes just move? Bearing an air. Yeah, she's blinking. I can see it at my peripheral. Stop that. Bearing an air of faint sorrow, her eyes are distant, testament to a lifetime of grief. So, is this going to be the whole episode me reading? I mean, that'd be pretty. Again, there is a sense of aching familiarity. You are certain that you know her, but that knowledge is locked away somehow, and you're unable to get it. Alright. Beside her, a young man in his 30s. Stop blinking! Don't you glare at me like that. A guarded expression and an air of relentlessness, as if he would much rather be elsewhere. The sight of him troubles you, but you are not sure why. Alright. Beside him is a pretty young girl in her 20s. Her expression is subdued and thoughtful. The sight of her inexplicably strikes you like a blow. It takes some effort for you to regain your composure. Just as you approach them, a strange thing happens. Why am I... For some reason, the game just put me right to the menu, or the settings, You're not sure what just happened. The world seemed to fade away for an instant. That was weird. As soon as I read that, somehow I went into the settings below the menu where you can adjust, like the volume and stuff like that. I went to that somehow. That was weird. Did anybody else see that? Now you find yourself standing before the woman. She does not acknowledge your presence. It is an incredible thing. She does not open her mouth, but you can hear her thoughts as if she were speaking. What dark magic is this? Woman, it was so sudden, but now that I think about it, it's not so surprising. All these years he talked about his own death, and now it came about in a way none of us expected. Ooh, we get to choose. How did he die? I'm sorry for your loss. Well, I feel like this is the last thing you want to ask someone when someone's dead. The grief comes and goes. I still can't believe he's gone, even after all that has passed between us. Although she does not directly respond to your words, her thoughts shift in the direction of your prompt. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but at least he didn't suffer. He was always afraid of suffering. How so? I guess we are. How was he afraid of suffering? He was terrified about having some kind of nearly fatal accident and then living with pain or living as a vegetable. He was afraid of that, of being a vegetable and then having to physically rely on someone to live. So I'm glad that he went quickly. The coroner told me his death was instant. You sense her thoughts shifting to the young man and woman beside her. I'm more worried about them. They've had to put up with a lot. Matthew's already growing distant. He was warm for a while when he first arrived, almost like his old self. Now he's gone back into his brooding shell. Whatever. Like father, like son. At least Priya is thawing a little. This game is weird. Her thoughts fade away for an instant. So I had to look over and make sure I turned the kitchen light on. It's incredible how one can destroy everything, tear a family apart, and keep us apart. All those years ago, and it still haunts us. Matthew and Priya, your kids? What incident? What happened? Let's go with that one. Matthew was such a wonderful little boy. How he adored his father, worshipped him really, and Priya was his princess. All that, an illusion so rudely torn away. What happened to them? What happened? What did he do? I realize now I've been avoiding thinking about that for a long time. Maybe that's how you survive. You clamp down on the hurtful memories, lock them away in a box and never open it and never look in it. Because if you do, they'll chaff at you until you break. Maybe now that he's gone, it's time to open that box and look at the terrible stuff in there. Maybe I should no longer run away from it. Her words evoke that sense of bitter agony. You want to reach out and comfort her, but you hesitate. Wouldn't that be inappropriate? There's that maddening feeling of familiarity again. An ache that seems to tell you that you know this woman, and another emotion threading through the sorrow, shame. I don't mean to pry, but what happened? I'm sorry, it's none of my business. The woman stares past you, and once again, you are no longer able to hear her mind. A deep dread fills you. Why did you back away from what she might have told you? This is none of my business. The woman sighs deeply. You sense grief bubbling up inside a wellspring of it, so powerful that for a moment you feel you will be drowned in it. But you can catch her thoughts. Interesting. You find yourself standing before the young man. So we're going to talk to all three of them. His hands are tucked into his pockets as he stares at the casket. He seems oblivious to the others around him. Ooh, 3 choices. I spoke to your mother. I'm sorry about your loss. How are you holding up? He looks up, startled, looks around. He does not look directly at you. He does not acknowledge your presence. acknowledge you present. For some reason, this does not offend. In fact, weirdly, for reasons you cannot understand, it seems the most natural thing in the world. As before, you hear his thoughts, as if in response to your question. Matthew, I could have sworn I heard something. I must have been hallucinating. I guess that's what not sleeping for 2 days does to you. Jeez. Maybe you need some nap, tired eyes. Soon as this is over, I'll head back to the room, hop a couple of these, and get knocked out. Though I'm not sure I can. What with all these thoughts? A part of me is guilty, thinking I should be grieving over him. He was my father, after all. And then another part of me, the larger part, doesn't care at all. Do I really feel anything? Any loss? It's strange. I feel nothing. Are we playing as the father, maybe? Like, talking to them or whatever? That's such an awful way to feel about your father's death. But is it really? When was the last time I spoke to him? Maybe 4 years now. I'm not angry. I think the years have softened my anger. I'm just apathetic, really. When I got the call, it was almost like Ma was telling me about someone else's death, a stranger's. Your mother doesn't seem madly affected. How's your mom holding up? Mom's barely holding on, but she's not going to show us that, as usual. Yeah, she's trying to be strong. It's amazing how she can grieve over him at all. That she still won't say a bad thing about him after all he's done. Part of the problem is how much she worries about us. That's how it's always been. That's part of the problem. That's why she hid the truth from us. From us for so long. Or so she thinks. I think she was mostly just hiding the truth about him from herself. You sense anger, even frustration in his thoughts. His mother, shouldn't he be beside her, comforting her? There seems to be some kind of distance between them, an abyss that is impossible to cross. He seems to pick up on your thoughts. A part of me does wish I could go to her. Where do we start? It's too far gone, and it's all because of him. Your mother alluded to something. What happened? What did your father do? Your mother alluded to something, or I don't know. A buzzing fills the world, and his next thoughts are drowned in it. The world is fading away. A memory rising. And now we fade into the next scene. You know this place. You have been here. This random ketchup? A horrific image. A memory? Okay, things are now getting creepy. Now you're standing before the girl. I knew we were going to talk to all three of them. She is deeply sad within. A measure of relief fills you. At least one of them is grieving the man in the casket. Yet looking at her fills you with unexpected and surprising sorrow. You want to reach out to her, hold her, tell her that all will be okay, but you know you can't do it. You don't even know her. Do you? Don't you know her? Are you sure? Why does this invoke such grief in you? You want to ask if she loved the man in the casket, but that would be a terrible thing to ask at a funeral. But it's a good question, did you? Are you there? Why are you there? And who are these people? And why does your not knowing the answers to these questions not bother you? It would me. In fact, now you feel very calm. Except for the ebbing and flowering under tides of sorrow. That's a really oddly shaped phrase. You are mostly at peace. I'm sorry. I see that his passing has hit you hard. Yeah, let's go that one. She sniffles and does not acknowledge her words. That should have struck you as rude, but it doesn't. Priya, I can't believe he's gone. I can't believe it. And so suddenly, and in such a terrible way. At least he didn't suffer. Mom saw the body, and she said his face was left of it. What was left of it looked so peaceful, almost like he was sleeping. It's the strangest thing. I never thought I'd feel this terrible, and now look at me. I guess it goes to show. When he was alive, he barely talked, except for those occasions I called. I think I had hardened my heart to him. Maybe that's what happened. I put up a wall, and now that he's dead... yes, that does happen sometimes. You seem affected, unlike Matthew over there. She does not respond, and that's lost, and stays lost in thought. What exactly caused all this to happen? What exactly did your father do? To think that it all goes back to that one moment. Everything would have been different if only Dad hadn't. Are we gonna see a flashback now of what he should have done? A burning sensation fills you, an urgency. It's imperative for you to find out what happened to this family. What has broken them apart? Your very soul seems to depend on it. You find the woman, their mother, standing slumped. She stares off into the distance. I need to know what happened. Did your husband betray you? I mean, kind of a similar question, but... Betrayal? What a strange thought. And yes, that's as good a word as any for what he did. He'd been at it for years. I never even knew. Did he cheat on you? Well, that's a lie, isn't it? I knew, of course I knew. I knew, yet I didn't allow myself to know. I kept it a close secret because my biggest fear was that the children would find out. I didn't want them to know what kind of man he was, and so I stayed quiet. Through all those nights when he was away on his supposed business trips, late at work, at meetings, I told the kids that their father was a busy man. And that was how it was, wasn't it? Dad's away, he's busy earning a living, busy, always busy. I saw him about once a week during school days, and most weekends he wasn't there. I guess it was normal for most rich kids. You got used to it. You went to school where everyone's dad was some big shot, away most of the time, and he thought that's the awful part. He thought it hooked line and sinker. Ma, Dad's going to miss out on PTA again. They want to see him. Your dad's busy, honey. He's a busy man. Until... Priya? Princess. That's what he used to call me. Princess. I used to wait to see him. To get gifts, the hugs. I would wait to smell his cologne. I used to wait for that. I loved him. We all did. The mom? And then, when it happened, it all blew up in his face. It happened. It had to happen. He'd been sleeping with too many women. You see. Mainly by coercion. It appeared. The big CEO of a multinational corporation. I knew it. I knew he was sleeping around. It was bound to go wrong. You can't hide the truth forever. That horrid woman, Laura, that awful phone call, she spilled it out. Did you kill him? And then another woman came forward at his workplace. That whole #MeToo movement thing. Harassment. I tried even then to hide it, but... Alright, Matthew. What boy has to live with something like that? Going to school, 8th grade, your dad's name in every paper, #MeToo. Bitches. They crucified me, even those teachers. They screwed with me in front of the whole class. Some son of a... I'm not going to even read all that. the names kept coming. I think that's when Matthew began shutting us out, and all the stories started coming together. What Dad was really up to, all those business trips, what they actually were, and Ma tried to protect them from it. Till the very end, she never told us the truth. Again, this is getting dark. He was a liar. That's what he was. 6 months. That's how long it took to lose everything. After he lost his job, the house, the family perks, the kids had to leave the private schools, and then after they got divorced, it was over. Over for us. Matthew couldn't wait to leave home when he finished college, and I don't blame him. He never looked back once. He never forgave them. Either of them. Do you forgive her? It wasn't your mom's fault. I don't know the big here. It wasn't Ma's fault, but we were just kids, and she didn't know how to deal with the fallout. The relatives, the raging, whatever, the press, she shut us out too. Okay, this got really dark. Quick. Did you forgive her? Him. I want to forgive, but he ruined our lives. All for lies, for something so cheap, for sex. For sex? You stood before her, and you feel a terrible sense of shame. And of course, you know why. You knew from the beginning. We're him, aren't we? You know who this is, who is in there. The dead body that lies within was once yours. They weep, and they stand apart. They are broken. So we're playing as the dad? Question mark? And you broke them. We're playing as the dad. The end. Or just end. And that was the first game of this second episode of 3 Games That's Scary, Funeral. So we were playing, so that was us, and we were playing as the dad the whole time. Anyways, that was the first game, Funeral. On to the next one. Alright, so now the second game is called Umbra Mortis, I think it is. And the description of what the page says on itch.io is pretty lengthy, so I'm not going to read the whole thing for you, but when a man is infected by a strange devastating virus, he must find answers. What exactly is the nature of the dreaded infection that grips him? How is it ravaging his body? How will he face the darkening shadow that grows within? I don't know. Let's find out in Umbra Mortis, I think is how it's pronounced. It looks like this is the guy. I am dying. I feel the disease working in my body. Magical cells ravaging my insides. A raging biofire consuming my flesh and polluting my blood. It is spreading fast, leaving necrotic flesh in its wake, a deepening shadow inside me. The pain is huge at times, unpredictable, shooting through my body in bright, brittle bolts that leave me gasping for breath despite the painkillers. It is a relentless, monstrous alignment, and it has devastated my life. I don't know how much time I have left. The doctors refuse to stay. They tell me that life expectancy predictions aren't known yet for this disease, and that there are too many parameters. They want me to fight it, but I don't think I have much fight left. Maybe it's because I've accepted of my sickness, and thus the inevitability of my fate. Or maybe it's because I don't have much to live for anyway. And that's wishful thinking. 8 months ago, I was a healthy and unsuspecting 25-year-old. I worked a deadbeat 8-hour gig as an accountant in a struggling software distribution firm. I detested the work. It was mind-numbing, whatever. But jobs were scarce at the time, and there were others who would have been happy to take my place. I had begun my career a year earlier in a nose-diving economic, fresh out of college, armed only with a bachelor's in finance and naive optimism. I was saddled with loans. My mom, the only family I had, passed away a year earlier after a long, bitter fight with cancer, and the insurance had only gone some way. I also had an education loan. I lived in a tiny studio apartment that could barely afford in the most crowded part of the city. Life was stressful, to say the least. You told me then that if you told me then that in less than a year I would lose my health and nearly my mind, a fatal illness, I would have laughed bitterly. And then there was my relationship with Anita. We met at university. She had been doing a degree in mass communication and journalism. Looking back, it seems that we had gravitated to one another naturally. She comes from a lower middle class background like me, and we understood each other's aspirations and fears. Money, rather than the lack of it, health, insurance, jobs, and stability. We'd grown up seeing adults fretting constantly over these things. Some of them, like our parents, managed to stay afloat, while others sank, swallowed by the maw of poverty. She had emotional baggage and troubles of her own. A burdensome narcissist mother, among other things, but Anita was the brightest person I'd ever met. She was perhaps the one good thing I had in my life, but I didn't know it then. Things were getting shaky. A year into a relationship, it's not working. We're not working, and I get this feeling you don't want it to work. That you're doing everything you can to sabotage us. Geez, that's not true. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't know what to choose here. I'm not imagining it. You're practically pushing me out without saying it right out. I know you have a lot of stress, but that's all the more reason for us to pull together. It helps if you talk about it instead of withdrawing and keeping all of that stuff bottled in. I don't think that's true. It's not. Do you realize that you've barely spoken a word to me in the last 3 days? When I'm here, do you realize that you barely look at me? It's like you're lost somewhere inside yourself. Voice softening. I know that losing your ma hit you hard, and I know you have a lot going on, but pushing me out is not helping us. I'm sorry, I think you're mistaken. I know you are, honey, but I think maybe we only know the value of what we have when we don't have it. Maybe my mother used to treat me like crap. Nothing I did could make her happy. But now that I'm not with her, she hovers over me every day. What are you trying to say? I'm not your mother. No, you're not. And that's not what I meant. We should take a break until you figure out what's eating you and what you really want. That must have been one of our last conversations before I got sick. It's strange. Now that I'm dying, I realize that she was right. When I think of her, I regret that I didn't see how lucky I was to have her. I regret that I wasn't a better man, more forgiving, more forthcoming. If I knew that I was going to be dealt this card, I would have held on to her and never let go. We in the hospital. 008 got a picture of a girl, flowers, and whatever that thing is. I know now that I love her, and that it's too late. But I'm also glad that we fell apart before I fell ill. How much worse would it have been? How much worse it would have been for her to be saddled with a dying lover. And I went to the doctor. When Anita learned I was that's us. And when Anita learned I was sick, she came back into my life as a concerned friend. She visits me here at the hospital, but I discourage her from coming. The terminal wing of a hospital is a dreary place. Death lurks in every corner, in every shadow. Besides, I don't want her to remember me like this. According to the clock, it's looks like it's 9 something in the night. I want her to remember me the way I was before I was diminished by this monstrous illness. I don't want her to be burdened by the thing I have become. She shouldn't have to walk in the shadow of death. When the disease hit me and smashed apart my life, I sunk into an abyss, an endless darkness in which I came close to going insane. I asked all the usual questions. Why me? Am I not a bad guy? I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a serial killer or a... I'm not going to read those. I may not be a saint, but I'm not evil. So why was I struck with this? But I had no one to ask these questions. Since I didn't believe in God, I could only turn inward, sinking deeper and deeper into the abyss. I wondered, is this body all I am? All that I am? What happens when I die? Where do I go? Does my life just end? Or do I have a soul? An immaterial, infinite other that lives on. But there were no answers. Good morning. I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to wake you up. That's the doctor! I'm not going to pronounce that. So how are you feeling today? Dr. Shurish is a good man. I get the feeling that he really cares about his patients, that he sees them as people, fellow human beings who have gotten sick. While he was talking to me about one of his partners who had passed away the night before, a 6-year-old child who had been in the terminal ward for 2 months. I saw his eyes fill up with tears. I feel sorry for him. Sometimes. It can't be easy working with the terminally ill, watching your patients snatched away with impudence as you look on helplessly. Your nostrums and your science useless abstractions. Oh, I can't read. What does that do to a man? When failure at your workplace is routine. What questions must he ask himself in the late hours of the night when sleep invades him? Who does he turn to? He once told me that doctors treat patients to the best of their abilities, but it is God who cures. He said that he's seen too much to believe that human beings can ever hold all the universe's mysteries in their hands. It's like that old the The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. Well, I feel worse, truth, I feel better. I don't know, I feel like we might be feeling worse. We're not gonna lie, right? I'm sorry to hear that, but I have some news that might make you feel better. Cool. What's that? Right now, I'm not sure anything can. It's about your test results. These scans are back from the labs. They indicate that the last batch of drugs we received from the NCDC, psych, if you remember, it's possibly having an effect. It's the latest formulations sent by the NCDC from the labs. I wish I could tell you that there's a remission. There is, however, a slowing down of the cellular alteration. It's too early to make any conclusions, though. We'll wait. We'll watch. What does that mean in terms of how long I've got? Does it really matter? We're just prolonging the inevitable. We've talked about this. At this point, there's no accurate way to predict life expectancy. We're still figuring out the pathology of the disease. It could be weeks, months, maybe over a year. And there are too many parameters that seem to influence lifespan. It doesn't matter anyways. Well, knowing might give me some kind of relief. Not really. Your state of mind affects your recovery, and we need all the help we can get. I will tell you when we've progressed a little more with the treatments. I sent your last blood samples back to the NCDC. They will send back a fresh batch of Psyche with an upgraded genome target. We're only halfway through your treatment. Remember, I want you to seize hope, to trust the process. Once we nail its pathology, we'll have a good shot at stopping it cold. I smile, nod, and don't believe a word of what he's saying. I've seen the X-rays. The necrosis, which began in my legs, has spread into parts of my abdomen, and is encroaching on my lungs, a dark shadow growing within. I want you to trust us. We're doing our best. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go. We've got our hands full. The nurse will come around to give you your morning doses. He leaves quickly, and I'm alone once more. I seem to feel the disease moving within me as it makes its way into my belly, my lungs, and towards my brain. I fell into a fitful sleep. I am startled awake. Is it late afternoon? And I hear the sounds of ruckus outside my room. Oh. A commotion. A snarling. Like that of some enraged animal. I must be still asleep and dreaming. My dreams have grown so vivid of late. After all, who would bring an animal into the terminal wing of a hospital? Why are we getting closer to it? I try to sit up, but I can't. I am so weak. This better be a dream. I can feel the disease wreaking its dread destruction within me. I sense it coursing through my veins, imagined other bent of my demise. I am aware of it all the time. This shadow of death that stalks me. I rage against it. I plead with it. I can't turn away from it, not for a second. And we're getting closer to the door. The odd noises pass quickly. I fell back into a restless sleep. Who's this now? Hello, sorry to wake you up. It's time for your evening doses. Nurse Hoven, my regular nurse, and perhaps the coldest nurse on the planet. I have rarely seen him smile. He does his job, diligently. He resists all my attempts to have a conversation. Sometimes I catch him looking at me with an unreadable expression. What do I see in his eyes? Pity? Hey, I had a terrible dream a little while ago. Did anything weird happen out there in the hall? He was silent for a moment. Not that I know of. That dream seemed extremely vivid. I heard a growling like an animal's. It's probably the meds. Psyche is known to have strong side effects, including lucid, vivid dream states. Something about the way he responds to the shift in his tone makes me wonder. I get the feeling you're not telling me something. Thanks, I thought so. Let's go with that one. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I've told you what I can. Can I see the doc? These dreams shook me up. What's going on with me? I'm feeling worse. I'll put a note in for the doc. He's on his rounds now, he'll come see you after. The doc did mention that you were in a troubled frame of mind. I have a sedative in your IV, which will help you. You'll sleep like a dog. That should help you with bad dreams. Hang on. Sorry, I didn't itch. He leaves, and I am once more alone with my thoughts. That's the last thing I want to be, is alone with my thoughts. We get the NCDC Secure Communications Portal, eyes only. To Dr. Shuris M. From Dr. Ramesh. January 28th of 2048. We're working on the blood samples. We're almost done with the sequencing. Meanwhile, he has the info he requested. Good luck, though. This thing has been a real bitch to nail. The first recorded case was in Romania. The victim, a man named Harlov G., who lived in one of the southern villages. One morning, his wife noticed odd bruises covering his back. He was the kind of man who didn't visit a doctor unless he was at death's door. She told reporters later. A few weeks later, he lost 10 kilos and was so weak he could barely walk. He was finally taken into a hospital, but his condition continued to deteriorate rapidly. They discovered that swaths of cells were dying for no apparent reason. Narcosis spreading through his body. Its spread eventually caused catastrophic organ failure and then death. His body was burned immediately in fear of an outbreak, and his village was quarantined. But nothing happened. There was no outbreak. Whatever the disease was, it wasn't contagious. Not in the way we understand contagion. The next case was reported a few weeks later in Mumbai, India. But at the time, nobody connected the two. It was only with the third case in Germany when the third case in Germany occurred that disease control centers in each country were galvanized into action and began to compare the data. You know the rest. Its cellular structure is mutating in every host, so we're still trying to lock down its pathology. Everyone thought it was a bacterial at first. Yet no known antibiotic could touch it. Then there was the genetic theory. Laughable, really. Its transmission was a mystery, because there is only one way it can be transferred from one person to another. Direct fluid transfusion into the bloodstream. Like AIDS, that disease from a bygone era. Hence, mass contagion isn't a concern. And you know how it got its name. In the X-rays and CT scans, the spreading necrosis resembles a growing shadow, hence the name Umbra Mortis. And we're back at the hospital. Oh, there's Anita. Hey, sleepyhead. I've been here for 20 minutes now. You were out like a baby. Seeing her here fills me with conflicting emotions. Regret, desire, love, anger. When she was last here, I told her as coldly as I could not to visit again. But Anita isn't easy to dissuade. Alright. Why didn't you wake me? Why did you come? I told you not to. Let's just be polite, right? I didn't want to wake you. You looked exhausted. It's 9:30 a.m. It's a Tuesday. So I know that she was to be at work by 9 a.m. for a team meeting she conducts. Well, she's late. Late by 30 minutes. You'll be late for work. You should go. It's good to see you, but didn't we decide we wouldn't do this? Work can wait. I do too much of it anyway. You're still as combative as ever. Understandable given the circumstances. It's regretful it took a terminal disease to make me realize I love her. On hindsight, the arguments we had in which I sulked over seem tried and laughable now. I marvel at how stupid I was. Yet, in a bitterly ironic twist, I don't want her anywhere near me now. The disease is not contagious, but my misery might well be. She deserves a wholesome life, not to be stuck in a room with a dying man. You really should go. You're as stubborn as ever. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Yes, the sight of her moves me. I know that if I close my eyes, I will see it. The abyss of what could have been. Anita was my wife. The two of us together. Kids. A future. But I don't want to go there. I pull myself back to those thoughts with some effort. I've been in that abyss before. I don't want to go back there again. There is no respite there. Only endless dark and yammering questions, and the ever-present threat of insanity. How are things with your mother? How are things at work? So, work's going okay. There's more of it than usual, and I end up having to sit late nearly every day. Nothing new to report there. She pauses, and I see a flicker of worry. But there's weird stuff going on. Since you're not on the networks anymore, you aren't seeing the reports. The rising hysteria and rumors that the number of people affected by the Umbra Mortis is growing. I wouldn't trust social media. It's full of fake news, yeah. Do you think any of that's true? Well, I don't know. There's no official word from our government. The official line is that all's normal and that spreading false rumors and creating panic is punishable by law. But on social media, everyone seems to know someone who has caught it, and they're not sure how it's spreading. When people got it 8 months ago, it felt like there were only a handful of people, right? Or so we thought. It felt like we just lucked out. An understatement. I didn't just feel like we lucked out. I slipped into the abyss, and there I thrashed and burned for weeks. But folks are saying that it was just not being reported. And there's even more crazy rumors that the disease is changing somehow. I've seen viral videos of she falls silent. Videos of what? I'm tired, you should go. How can far can we, I don't know. What happens if we say let's ask about the videos. Actually, never mind, really. I don't think you need to bother with those things right now. Just focus on getting better. Thank God you're off the networks. It's all just alarmist, rabid noises anyway. Look, I gotta go now. I'll see you soon. For reasons I can't explain, a sense of deep foreboding fills me. Within me, the disease continues its relentless passage. A malefic shadow cast upon my flesh. Oh boy. I wake up in the dark and I hear a strange noise again, a low animal growling. This has to be some kind of dream we're having. I must be dreaming. Of late, my dreams are getting more vivid. When I wake up, I can't remember what it is that I dreamt about, but I come awake sweating, terrified. I become fully aware of my dying body, of that thing within I become fully aware of my dying body, of the thing within that is killing me. I want to be going through the door again. I can sense its desire to consume me from within, to chew through my flesh, and escape into the world. It is insatiable. I can feel its dread hunger. Such hunger. Back to this again. So the last 5 batches of random trials are telling us the same thing, and it's scaring the hell out of us here. I can't tell you too much. Who knows? Even this network may be modern. It's common knowledge that Umbra Mortis has been mutating, creating variants of itself in such and each successive host manifesting differently. That's what made it impossible to target. You can't target a disease unless you have its genome locked down. But now, the mutations are slowing down. In fact, there have been no mutations in the last 2 generations of the infected. That means we'll have a shot at an antigen. That ought to be good news, right? Well, it's not, because last manifestations of Umbra Mortis in the human body, the fatal variant, if you will, is unlike anything we've seen before. The blood samples you sent us display the same variant. I'm sending you another batch of Psyche, which we've tried to modify to address this. I'll send you some more later. Meanwhile, be very careful. The doctor hasn't come in to see me today yet, which is uncharacteristic. I paged for the nurse to get me some water, and it's been an hour. And I went up. Well, that took time. Where's the doctor? I'm sorry, he's got his hands full today. All of us do. I'm going to put some sedative in your IV. That should help you calm down a little. Not so fast. What's going on? Sure, but I think I need to see the doctor first. I don't like how this is going. I'll see if I can page him, but it might take some time. I need to know if there's any change in my condition. Is it true that more people are conducting Umbra Mortis? For a moment, it seems he will say something. Then he simply leaves. Oh, I don't like how that went. Damn them. What's going on? I wake up with a start, aware that someone is in the room with me. I turn and see. Oh. Don't do that. Hisses. Look. I was never here. I'm doing this because, well, I think you have a right to know. No, I don't want to know. Things are getting out of control anyway. So all the BS about classified this and classified that, I don't even think it matters. I'll tell you this. They don't have anything under control. How do you mean? What do you know about Umbra Mortis? I'm sure you've heard that it wasn't contagious except through blood or cellular transfer. So do you know how you got it? Nobody knows how it started either. What we do know is that it causes necrosis within your body. The dead cells spreading until it destroys all major organs. It's rare. In rare cases, it happens in days, but for most people, it takes months, even years. We don't know why there is this variation. Well, that about sums up what I know. Have they discovered anything new? Well, obviously they've been working on learning more about this pathology in the hope of finding a cure. There were a lot of mistakes. At one point, they even thought it was bacterial. Hang on. Then they were saying it could be genetic. They said that it could have been like a genetic type bomb having lain dormant in the genome of certain individuals all along, finally triggered by some random juxtaposition of chemical events nobody can figure out. The NCDC was sequencing the hell out of its DNA, and that's how they figured out the mutation thing. What's that? They observed the disease was subtly changing itself with each generation of those infected. You could say that Umbra Mortis was evolving. Evolving? Oh, that's ridiculous. I know how it sounds, but that's what they say. Its pathology is cellular construct, was altering itself within each host. That sounds like some kind of virus. That is scary. Yes, imagine a virus strain that modifies the human genome and triggers a genetic snowball effect. But viruses don't change so rapidly. So then the theories got crazier. There were whispers in some circles that it's an artificial construct, a genome virus cooked up in some subterranean government lab that somehow escaped. Man-made? It can't be. I know, bio-warfare, tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, all the rest. A classic escaped man-made virus trope. And all the usual suspects started piping up. The church calling it an act of God, just like they've done for every other explicable disease in history. And then there are the alien incursion theorists. They're calling it a deadly payload from the stars. Now, in the latest update from the NCDC, they've observed that in the most recent batch of patients, including yourself, the mutations appear to have stopped. That's good, right? So they can find a cure? Yes, they can, but there is a complication. The final variant of the disease, it appears Umbra Mortis, causes cataclysmic changes to the cellular structure of the host, particularly in the central nervous system. We're not sure how it's causing those changes or how they're working. I sense he is lying, hiding something from me. Before I can ask him, he just leaves. He leaves furtively. Alright, we're back to this. So I guess by now it's all out there. My old friend, I'm sorry we have to end our communications like this. I almost admired Umbra Mortis. It is devious, and if it is a created thing, well, it's been designed by a manic genius. A chemical coder for excellence. The devil himself, or maybe the religious are right. Maybe this is the wrath of God. By the time you read this, you'll have already seen the transformations in the last batch of the infected. Sounds like someone's trying to create a zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry, but we have no more psyche to send you. You're just going to have to let things play out with your remaining patients. Well, that's morbid. We still do not know how this originated. but we sure as hell know how it was intended to spread. Oh God, we know that now. Get away, Shurish. Get the hell away from there as soon as you can. Don't try to be a hero. Not this time. Oh. Where did you get the blood, sir? Hello, I'm sorry to come to you like this, but I have held out for a while. But now I am obligated to let you know that the situation has changed. My sense of foreboding grows. I feel my skin burning up with a fever. Yet, when I raise my hand to my forehead, it is cold to my touch. Anxiety grips me, a near manic energy. Doc, what's going on? Doc, how bad is my condition really? Is that blood on your coat? Yeah, is that blood on your coat? We've done our best. I want you to know that. We did everything we could. He seems to be talking more to himself than me. I held out. Many didn't stay. The government has declared an emergency, and troops are moving into every major city. This is the last shot of Psyche that I have. But there's something I need to tell you. What is it? Doc, you're scaring me. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you have to know this. The last few doses of Psyche, the latest batches of the drug, weren't being administered to stop the necrosis. In fact, the necrosis caused by Umbra Mortis is irreversible and cannot be stopped. Oh, now you tell me? The drug was being given to you to freeze the transformation that the final variant of the disease is causing in you. I hate you. Now that we're out of the drug, based on timelines we've seen in the others, you'll probably start seeing the changes in about 24 hours to 48 hours. I will administer this now, and then leave. Wait, Doc, changes? What kind of changes? What are you talking about? I'm sorry. He injects a vial full of Psyche into my arm. I have no strength to move it, and I wake up in the dark again to utter silence. Something is happening to me. Something is changing. I'm not sure what. I am dying, aren't I? A dark fever grips me. It feels like there's a fire in me, an unquenchable, all-consuming fire that can never be put out. Will I simply burn it up? I am slipping in and out of wakefulness. What does that mean? Anita, wake up, wake up. I see her before me, and again, I am besieged by conflicting emotions. Desperation, rage, desire. I am torn between wanting to tell her to go away and to beg her to stay. She seems so vivid, so alive. Is everything okay? What are you doing here? Things are bad out there, really bad. What do you mean? Are you okay? I came to tell you that I'm leaving. I have to go. Where are you going? Why? I have to leave town. They're saying there are camps up north, pockets of quarantine areas where the disease has not yet hit. There's a group of people leaving for it, and I have to go with them. What's going on? The hospital staff have fled, and they left me here, really? The military is fast approaching the city, and they're enforcing a quarantine. There's only a few hours to get going. But I had to come to see you one last time. I was hoping that you would still be here. So much for never leaving my side. Yeah, you shouldn't have come at all. Okay, baby. Oh, baby. I was a risk just coming here. It was a risk just coming here. I don't even know if I'll make it back. The roads are jammed up. There's chaos everywhere, and there's terrible stuff happening on the roads. So I was nearly caught twice, but I had to come. I had to tell you before I left. If only I could take you with me, but I can't. Why not? I wouldn't come anyway. Whoa, you're not making much sense. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you so much. So this is it? And not in a way I had imagined. I should be feeling glad that she's leaving, but I'm not. Despite all my bravado and faux attempts not at nobility, I despair at this turn of events. Part of me wants her so bad, and now that I know she is going, now that I know it's for real, the reality of it hits me. I try not to cry, but it's hard. I don't want her to go, yet I want her to go. I want her to be safe, yet I want her to be with me. The emotions threatened to tear me asunder. How long is this game? Holy heck. Looking at her, I no longer feel weak. In fact, in an odd way, I feel alive. As if the vibrancy of her being is crying out to me. I can almost hear her heart beating. I can almost hear the quickness in her breath. The fire that grips me rises, and the incredible hunger roars up like a dark tide. Unable to help myself, I move toward her. She looks at me, and I see a terrible thing in her eyes. I see fear. She leaves. I am alone, and with the thing inside me, the shadow of death, the abyss of what might have been, the clawing, hungry, and yearning thing that is burning me up within. Oh. How? How did I get here? What am I doing outside of my room? I don't remember getting out of bed. I don't feel so weak. Is that blood on the floor? Where's everyone? This must be a dream because I feel sprightly alive. Maybe the final stage of this disease brings vivid dreams like this. Go back to my room and keep walking. Let's keep. I walk down the hallway. A trail of blood leads out of the room to my left. What happened here? The doorway to my right is slightly ajar. It appears to lead into a room much like my own. Could there be someone in there? I hear that low growling again. Is there someone inside? I need to see. I call out, but there's no response. I open the door. I see a room much like my own. The bed is soaked in blood. A figure stands in the corner, perfectly still, cloaked in shadow. Why are we walking towards it? It does not move. I can feel its gaze upon me. Yet, incredibly, I feel no threat from it. I almost feel kind of kinship. I call out to it, but there is no response. And now I back out of the room and into the corridor. What did I just see? I nearly run into the nurse, Hooven, before I see him. Back off. Back the f*** off. Okay, that was rude. I saw something. Someone in that room. Hooven, it's me. Back off. I was leaving, all right. Just let me go. Are you okay? Why are you talking to me like this? Go back. Just let me pass, please. Please, everyone's gone. I came back to get the last of the antibiotics from the dispensary before I leave town. Medicines will be scarce now that everything is shut to shit. I can hear his heartbeat. I can smell his fear. It is a sweet smell. How vibrant his being is. How alive. I can hear the blood coursing through his veins. I can almost taste it. Taste him. Ew. His flesh, his blood. Did we just become the monster? Something inside me lurches forward. Hey, hungry. Oh, we did. Something has happened. Something terrible, yet wonderful. I can't think about it. The world disappears. Back in my room now. Oh my god, this game is going on forever. I must still be in the dream because I feel so strong, so wonderfully strong. This room feels familiar, like home, like a den. I never want to leave here. Oh, what has happened? My own eyes red. What have I become? My hunger consumes me. I no longer see it as something apart from me. Umbra mortis, the shadow of death. Maybe I have accepted it. The extraordinarily, whatever, of this disease and thus the inevitably of my fate. For a brief moment, a whisper of that old question arises. Do I have a soul? And then the question is gone. Forever I suspect. The abyss is gone. What might have been forgotten? My memory of Anita persists, a lingering shadow in my mind. Yet even Anita no longer seems to matter, and I feel no sorrow. It is just me and this eternal night. End. Well, that was a lengthy one. Holy heck. And that was Umbra Mortis. On to the final game. Alright, so now this final game is called The Babysitter. And it says, at a house in a remote suburb, what you find over the course of one evening and the decisions you have to make will test your resolve, your beliefs, and your sanity. Alright, so let's test all that in The Babysitter. Ooh, this is cool. Guardian Angel. Needed, posted 8 hours ago. Babysitter needed. Urgent. Childminder required tomorrow evening for a 12-year-old daughter. Reference checks out to be conducted. Well, let's apply. 1 day later. It seems to me like all these games are just reading. This suburb, Whitefield Groves, is one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in the city, but it's on the outskirts of town, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. This house is like all the other houses in this neighborhood. It is set far apart from its neighbors. This sure is a nice place, with a well-maintained pond and a pool. Although at this hour it does seem a little foreboding. It's just about 7 p.m. and it's already full dark. This house seems quiet. Mrs. Rogers, the woman who called me back after you sent in your application, asked you to be here by 7:30 p.m. and had been particular that you be on time. Mrs. Raj told you that she and her husband, Dr. Raj, were going out for the evening, and she didn't want their daughter home alone. The fact that this girl is 12 and requires a sitter indicates there may be some issues here. Or it could just be that their child doesn't like being alone at home after dark. That's quite normal. Mrs. Raj sounded like a very exacting kind of parent. The type who is very mindful of every aspect of a child's care. She asked you a lot of questions about your background and your qualifications. She seemed pretty finicky. You can't blame her, really. These days, most parents, particularly the rich ones, pay a lot of attention to their children's upbringing. It is the nature of our times, and it pays to be vigilant. Since you've been registered with the Guardian Angel Care Agency for the last 3 years, you've got good references. So you are pretty confident you can get the gig. It pays well too. Well, you're here. You're about half an hour early, which you hope is not too early for them. You'd better ring the doorbell to let them know you're here. Oh, we can interact? Cool. Ding dong. I was waiting for the character to do it, but that's cool that we can do it. Should I ring? Oh. Hey, it's Dr. Raj. You gonna say something? Yes, of course. You must be the babysitter. I'm Dr. Raj. My wife told me you would be here. You're early. That's great. Well, early better than late than never, right? Do come in. Cool. He steps aside and you walk into the house. The lounge area overlooks the lawn and the pool through tinted black windows on your left. The floor underfoot is real wood, and the furniture looks like it costs a fortune. I'm so glad we found you on such short notice. What? That's my wife. Was quite worried who wouldn't be able to get a sitter on time. You see, I got an invitation to speak at a late evening segment of a medical convention just 2 days ago, so the whole situation came about rather abruptly. Shira is very particular about in whose care we leave Maya, our daughter. We had a bad experience with our last suit. She is very cautious when it comes to Maya. You sense a mild apology in his tone. Yes, I did feel that interview was quite thorough. Although it's alright, it's important to be diligent when it comes to such matters. That's very true. I can see why you gained her confidence. I'll go in and tell her you're here. She's just getting ready. I'll then grab my coat and head out to the car. So I'll see you next when we're back. It was a pleasure meeting you. Do make yourself comfortable. Shira will be out in a second. Dr. Raj leaves you, and you wait for Mrs. Raj, who he referred to as Shira. So I'm not going to pronounce it. I'll just call her Ray. He seems pleasant, if a little absent. Hang on. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. A rather stark difference to Mrs. Raj, who sounded formal and humorless on the call. It must be pleasant here during the day. The glass doors on your left letting in natural light. But now at night, the windows look out in the darkness, and the trees bordering the lawn throw deep shadows. It's understandable now why they would not want their child to spend a late evening alone. The house is large and isolated from its neighbors. The neighborhood itself is rather lonesome. Children with their active imaginations can easily get distressed after dark in such an environment. Every creak and every night sound taking on sinister undertones. I cannot read. Every time I try to do these games, I stumble. Mrs. Raj, hello there. We had spoken on the phone. Thank you for being early. I appreciate that. Whatever. My husband might have told you, we're attending a medical convention, and he is one of the keynote speakers for the evening. The organizers just called us a few minutes ago and told us that the traffic around the convention center is a nightmare, and that we should start out early if we wanted to get there on time. So now we have to leave half an hour earlier. The organizers seem so, disorganized. Her tone is clipped. She is clearly a woman who does not like it when plans go awry. where situations get unpredictable. I'm glad we were able to find a sitter on such short notice. I know Maya seems quite old to be needing a sitter, but I try to avoid leaving our daughter home alone if possible. Quite understandable. The house does seem rather foreboding after dark. Yes, children require supervision at that age. Does it really? Well, in any case, it's not the house. It's just that she's going through a difficult time right now. I'm sorry to hear that. How so? Thank you. Is she okay? What kind of difficulty is she going through? Well, we recently moved here from another state about 6 months ago. Whatever. Got an offer to be a director at the NHU hospital. We wanted to stay together as a family, so we packed up and shifted our lives. It was rather abrupt change. It was a rather abrupt change for Maya. You know, leaving her old friends, her own life, the home she grew up in. She's taken it a little hard. She hasn't made any friends at her new school. She spends a lot of time alone. And I'm just gonna, I don't know, feels guilty about it because we moved for his work. But the directorship at the NHU hospital is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was only right for him to accept it. Maya's behavior doesn't make it easier on him though. Couple that with her overactive imagination, and it can get a little stressful. Jeez. Change can be hard for children at this age. What kind of behavior are you talking about? Yes, that's true. But you have to understand that Maya's a wonderful child. In fact, she's very bright for her age, which may be part of the problem. She's thoughtful, she reads beyond her years, and she's surprisingly mature for her age. It's just that she still hasn't come to terms with the move. And unfortunately, she's expressing her distress in rather disconnecting ways. How so? Children can generally act out their inner turmoil when they can't talk about it. Why, that's exactly what her counselor said. I must say that I'm quite glad I'm leaving her in your care tonight. You seem to understand children. She's struggling with a lot of emotions. She's just turning 12, so she's on the cusp of her teenage years. She's in a new school, and you know how difficult school can be at that age. Hormones, boys, and all the rest of it. I'm not going to even pronounce his name again. And I are busy for much of the day. But we try to talk to her about her feelings whenever we can, but that's not going to do well. The problem is she refuses to speak plainly about her feelings. Instead, she makes up outlandish stories and lets her imagination run amok. And she tries to draw us all into her morbid make-believe tales. Her counselor says it's a coping mechanism, a kind of stress response adopted by bright children, possibly a way to get attention, perhaps a way of telling us that she wants to leave and go back to her old life. What's troubling is that she's never been this way before. She's normally not an attention-seeking child. Oh, can we just get on with the babysitting? The counselor's probably right. Anything should be careful about. Any triggers I should avoid talking about or doing? Well, not really. Like I said, she's perfectly normal and not really a difficult child. She can be a little moody at times, that's all. And she might, if you probe, well, try to scare you with some of her stories. About this house, for example. What kind of stories? I'm sure I can handle being told stories. Just silly juvenile stuff. The kind kids tell each other when they gather around the campfire and try to scare each other, I suppose. She may have overheard something about this house and she's latched onto it and blown it out of proportion. It troubles us how morbid and disturbing her imagination can be. Are we just gonna talk about the kid, or are we just gonna let me babysit? About this house? Children love dark stories. Why do you think fairy tales are so gruesome? Yes, I'd rather not get into it at all. It's just nonsense anyway. And besides, that's exactly what she wants, for us to get drawn into her hysteria. In any case, her counselor has also told us not to encourage or react. So if she does anything, please be patient, be firm, but gentle. What Maya needs now is a little sanity. So about tonight, she's already eaten dinner, and her bedtime is at 9, which is just under 2 hours away. The time should pass quickly. There's snacks in the kitchen if you should need it. She pauses and appears to be searching for words. I know that... Come on, just let me babysit. Go to your thing already. I know that I may have come across as a bit severe when we spoke earlier on the phone. I have to be careful about who I choose to care for Maya. She's having a hard time as it is. That's okay. I'd have done the same thing if it were my daughter. It's pretty intense, but no offense is taken. Thank you. I know now that I had nothing to worry about. I'm impressed by your understanding of children. You must be great with them. I'll ask Maya to come down so she can meet you. Why don't you just go to your thing already? You hear voices approach. Rhea's and that of a young girl's. They are speaking in low volume, but you sense tension and conflict in their words. The children's tone is brusque, while Ray's tone is stern. This is Maya. Say hi, Maya. Maya? Hi. Her voice is so low you can barely hear it. I was just telling Maya that we're only away for about 3 to 4 hours, and that she must go to bed no later than 9. She'll cooperate, of course. Isn't that right, Maya? You sense a warning in her tone. Maya? Yes. That mumbled reply again. It's great to meet you, Maya. We'll make sure you're in bed by 9, right, Maya? Right, we have to be off then. If there's anything, please call. You could have just left already. You didn't need to tell me about the whole history. I expect you will be fine. Maya is in good hands. Don't worry, oh my gosh. Don't worry, you don't need any... We wouldn't need to. Everything will be alright. Thanks, I'll call if there are any issues. Thank you. Goodbye. Really, did we have to go through all that dialogue? A few minutes later... Mr. and Mrs. Raj have left. An awkward silence descends as Maya stares at you. There's about an hour and 30 minutes to go before her bedtime. So, what would you like to do? Why not watch TV or read a book? You want to talk? You want a snack? No thanks. Alright. She's not much of a sociable kid. That awkward silence again. You shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have taken this job. You should leave. Smile. Why would you say that? Now that's not a very polite thing to say. Frown. Why should I leave? Because you're not safe here. Go while you can. I don't like where this is going. What am I in danger? What am I in danger of exactly? Your parents asked me to watch over you, so I can't leave just yet. If I leave, you'll be alone here. I can take care of myself. You should be more worried about yourself, not me. I don't like I don't like where this is going. I can take care of myself, don't worry. Maya, how about we talk about something pleasant? What are your hobbies? I don't really want to talk. I'll go up to my room now. So go ahead, do whatever you want. Will you be okay by yourself? Do you want to hang out here instead? I'll be alright. I'm old enough to take care of myself, you know. I told them not to get a sitter. It's not safe. You mean you think you're not safe for me? I'm sure you can take care of yourself, but your parents just wanted me to make sure you're okay. My parents don't really care about me. If they did, they would listen to me. They don't. Anyway, I mean it's not safe for you. Yes, you already told me that. But what am I in danger from? Look, Maya, I don't scare easily. How about we talk about something else? I just want you to leave. Before something happens to you. It feels like you're going in circles with her. Okay, well just let her go. Quit asking her questions. Well, I can't. You're stuck with me. Why don't you tell me exactly what I'm in danger from? I can't. I know what happens if I do. You'll think I'm crazy. You'll laugh or patronize me. Anyway, at least I tried. I'm heading up to my room right now. My room now. Okay, I'll go quit. What are you going up there? What are you going to do up there? It's not bedtime yet. I know. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to read. Maybe write in my journal for a while. Don't worry. I'm not going to burn the house down or anything. Just look, if you're not going to leave, then just whatever you do, don't go near the basement, okay? No matter what you hear, don't go near it. Please. Oh, now we're going to go near it. She leaves you standing alone. Ouch, that didn't go too well. It was just as Mrs. Raj said. Maya is definitely a troubled child. No sooner had they left than she began to try to make the situation uncomfortable. You'll just have to ride this out. If she spends the rest of the evening upstairs, things should be fine. You can hang out here in the lounge and pass the time till the parents get back. It should be easy to do. Still, the conversation with Maya has left a bad taste in your mouth. She definitely seems like a bright young girl. It's a pity she's struggling with the pains of the changes in her life. But growth only ever comes from change, and that's something she'll learn over time. You decide to wait out on one of the comfortable couches here. It sure is as comfortable as it looks. Particularly, you practically sink into the plush leather. 10 minutes later. What was that? Maya? It came from this floor somewhere. It sounded like a door opening. Did Maya come back down? Call out to Maya, go investigate. What is going to investigate going to do? Get us killed? You call out, but there is no response. Earlier you heard her go upstairs, but you did not hear her return. The sound came from near the staircase over there. You distinctly heard the creak of a door opening. This better not be Maya playing around. There are 3 doors here. The door to your left, the door to the right of the stairs, and there appears to be a door behind the stairs under it. Well, it's that one right there, maybe. The stairs lead up to another floor, presumably where the bedrooms are. That sound you heard, that creak of a door opening, came from one of these doors. We're sure of it. So we get to pick the door, call out to Maya again, or check the doors, find out which one was opened. We get to check out the door on the left, check out the door on the right of the stairs, check out the door under the stairs. Let's go with the top one. It appears to be shut. You should try the door to make sure. Click the door. Ooh, we get to click the door. It's locked. Alright. Now check this one. Nope, it's locked. I like how we get to interact with stuff cool in this game. That's pretty cool. Check this one. Oh, this is the basement. The door is ajar. This must be the sound you heard. Through the gap in the doorway, you see only darkness. Jeez! What are you doing? I told you to stay away from the basement. Jeez, you scared the heck out of me. Just what do you think you're up to? I told you to stay away from the basement. Why don't you listen? Why doesn't anyone listen? Stern, look, drop the act. I know this is some kind of prank. Calm. Maya, what exactly is going on? Why don't you gain anything by doing this? I'm not doing anything. You came down here and opened that door, didn't you? Yes, are you? Yes, you are. Your mother warned me that you'd do something like this. Mom blames me for everything. I'll bet she told you I'm making up stories. She tells that to everyone, even total strangers. But I'm not making stories up. I bet she didn't tell you what the real estate lady told us about this house. I just came downstairs now. Yeah, but you did. I heard you calling me, and I came down to see why. And I saw you near the basement door, even though I told you not to go near it, no matter what you hear. You're saying I opened it? I think you did. So, who opened the door? It wasn't me, okay? Is that what you're saying? You know what? You're all the same. All of you think I'm lying, even my counselor. Maya, what's really going on? Maya, maybe it's better you just go up to your room. Yeah, get back up to your room. Yeah, I'll go up to my room, and I'll stay there. I got a bad feeling about her. Do whatever you like. But for your own sake, stay away from the basement, no matter what you hear. Yeah, I'm not gonna listen. No one ever listens in this situation. Alright, I'll wait. What's in the basement? What did the real estate agent tell you about this house? Let's find out what's in the basement. Great, she's gone back upstairs again. This is so not going well. You're just going to have to ride this out somehow until her parents get home. This is definitely getting uncomfortable. No wonder Miss Raj is concerned about the girl. Children express stress in varied ways. You've seen this in children who are going through traumatic changes in their lives. That poor girl. You'd better close the door. Not that you're overly alarmed about what Maya said. But the sight of the door open door is a bit creepy. And there we go. There, that's better. Back to the comfortable sofa, staring out into the darkness of the lawn. You'll sit tight till our parents get home. Will we? A few minutes later. There's that door again. Really? Again? Come on. This isn't funny anymore. Why would she call to Maya to stop it, go and investigate again? You call out, but there's no response. Well, we're going to investigate again. What the heck is that? Someone crying. Someone crying. It's coming from over there, near the stairs. Maya, are you okay? Maya, stop this right now. There's no response. It's coming. It's coming from the door behind the stairs. Maya? Maya, if you don't quit this now, I'm going to have to call your mother. Still no response. This is really aggravating. The sound of the weeping is troublesome. The door is open again. The crying is coming from the pitch darkness beyond it. Okay, are we gonna be stupid to go down there? There's no way you're going to open that door. Maya may be in there, ready to spring out and scare you, and you're not up for being jump scared. I'm not ready for being jump scared. Whatever behind that door. You don't really want to die of a heart attack on a babysitting gig. That's not what you signed up for. I didn't sign up for this, so you better shut that door. Phew, the crying has stopped. Yeah, that was just utterly nerve-wracking. This can't go on. You better put a stop to it now, or she'll keep doing this all night, and by the time her parents are back, you will have died of fright. It's probably a good idea to talk to her, comfort her. You could wait right here until she comes out of the basement. She can't stay down there forever. Or you could go upstairs and wait there. When she sneaks back up, you could catch her in the act, and then talk to her openly about what she's doing and why it's not going to help the situation. Wait for her to come out of the basement, head upstairs. This one. Let's try this one. Nearly 20 minutes later. Jeez. We've been standing here for 20 minutes. Well, this isn't working. Looks like she's gotten an idea that you're out there. Maybe it's time to switch to plan B? Head upstairs. Mrs. Raj told me to be gentle but firm. But it's time to focus on the firm a little. Talk directly and firmly to her. Ask her about whatever is bothering her. Maybe what she needs is direct talk. Sometimes the best way to address something with children is to get to the heart of the problem. She might open up, and that would make things easier for her. 3 doors. Which one is Maya's room? There are 3 doors on the side of the hallway. One of those is probably her room. You feel exposed standing here in this hall. She might see you before you see her. Maybe you could wait inside a room for her to get back. That would startle her and even be a kind of gentle prank right back at her. Sometimes the best way to get a child to listen is to give them a taste of their own medicine. You should probably try the doors to find out which one is hers. Is her room. Locked? Okay. Probably gonna be this one. Nope, it's this one. This must be it. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice room. She's not here. Of course she isn't. She's downstairs, crouched in the basement, perhaps getting ready to make those awful sounds again. Still, you feel a little guilty about being in here. It is after all her bedroom, and therefore private. If she doesn't show up in a couple minutes, you'll leave. Still, it would be good to startle her a little. Illustrate what it's like to get jump scared by someone. A pretty neat desk for a 12-year-old. It must be where she spends all her time studying and reading. There's an open book on the table. Something about that book draws your attention. You get to read it? It's filled with urgent, handwritten text. Curiosity grips you. You really shouldn't be here in this room, let alone looking at her desk, but something about the writing, about its manic scroll. The writing is dated a couple of weeks ago. You feel compelled to take a close look. Oh, we get to read it. Thursday 11th. I heard her again last night, after both Mama and Dad had gone to bed. I was lying in bed nearly asleep when I heard the sound of her weeping downstairs. I knew what would come next, and sure enough, I heard the faint shuffle of her footsteps as she made her way up the basement stairs and up the stairs. Then she was in the hallway outside my room. I heard her squeak. I heard the squeak of my room's door handle turn. I stayed under the blankets, my eyes shut tight. Thank God I had locked the door. It has become a compulsive habit and drives Ma and Dad crazy. I'm going around locking every door in the house, maybe from my anxiety. After a time, she went away. Friday the 12th. At breakfast, I told Ma that I had heard the sounds again the previous night, the weeping and the footsteps. Ma glared at me, and Dad didn't even bother looking up from his plate. Ma said, "I want you to stop this, Maya. It's becoming tiresome and annoying. There's no one else in the house but the three of us. What about what the real estate lady told us before we moved in?" I blurted. She said that was a tragic incident, but it happened in this house many years ago. It has nothing to do with us. You're obsessing and imagining things. My Ma was almost in tears. I nearly burst out crying. It wasn't always like this in our old life before we moved here 6 months ago. They used to listen to me and take what I said seriously. Now they no longer believe anything I say. Oh, how I hate this house. But am I going crazy? I feel like there's something on my mic, but I don't. Is this real? Am I the only one to see and hear her? Jeez. The lady in the basement. I remember when I first encountered the lady in the basement. It was just after we moved in. I was alone downstairs and I heard the basement door creak open. Maybe the lady in the basement's what we heard. I went to check. I went down there and nearly died of terror. I ran upstairs screaming and I told Ma and Dad about what I saw. They were alarmed and Dad searched the basement and then the whole house, but we found nothing. All we saw in the basement were the old packing boxes stored there. How I remember when I saw her coming up the basement stairs, out of the darkness. I remember a blast of rage and malevolence, and I feared for my life. Jeez, how much reading do we have to do? Another time, a week later, late at night, I heard her weeping downstairs. I ran to Ma and Dad's bedroom and crawled into bed with them crying. Dad searched the house again. He searched the basement, even though I got hysterical and begged him not to. And he found nothing. This happened a couple more times. Now they look at me not with concern, but with suspicion and even anger. Ma thanks to my counselor, that I am having some kind of breakdown brought about by our move across the country and teenage hormones. It's true that I hate this state. I hate my new school, and most of all, I hate this house. I wish we'd never moved here. But could they all be right? Could it be true that the trauma of change is driving me insane, making me see things? Seated by that awful story the real estate lady told us about what happened in this house all those years ago. Am I going crazy? Some nights I lie in bed, wide awake, waiting for the sounds of the basement to start, frozen in terror. Jeez. Friday the 27th. Okay, so I'm not the only one who sees her, which means I'm not going crazy. But it also means the situation is dangerous. Yesterday, Ma and Dad had to attend a party thrown by an old friend of Dad's. I think it was one of those boring adult parties, where everyone stands around sipping drinks and talking in late into the night. So they hired a sitter, a sweet 22-year-old girl named Nadia, who goes to the BH college nearby. I really liked her. She was so pretty. I was up there. I was up here, and it was around 9 when I heard her scream. I ran downstairs and I found her cowering behind the sofa. Her face ashen. She was pointing towards the basement door, and I knew at once that Nadia had seen her too. I asked Nadia what happened. She said that she heard the basement door opening, then a few minutes later the sound of someone weeping. She thought it was me, and she went to investigate. She opened the basement door wide, and then she... Stop doing that! Hey, just what do you think you're doing in here? You're reading my diary. That's so creepy. I'm going to call my mom. I should have locked the door. I went to the bathroom and just for once I didn't lock my door and see what happens. Please leave my room. Wait. I was in here to scare you. Instead you got me again? Wait. I heard those sounds too from the basement, the weeping. Is this all some elaborate prank? Where were you? Oh God, you shouldn't be in this house. The last babysitter, it didn't go too well for her. You should leave the house now. What happened to the previous sitter? Tell me about this lady in the basement. What was the story the real estate agent told you about this house? Before we moved here, Dad wanted to find a place near the hospital where he's working. So we got in touch with this real estate firm, and she showed them a bunch of houses. Ma didn't like any of them. Finally, the agent told them that she had one more place on her file. She brought us here. Ma loved the place at once. It was whatever. Had a nice lawn and a pool. 2 floors. What's not to love? Even better was the rent. I remember how Dad was really happy about how cheap the rent was considering its size. The only issues with the house, Ma said, was that even though it's part of the suburb property, Whitefield Groves, it looked a little run down. That was when the real estate agent told Dad and Ma the story. She said that the last long-term residents lived here nearly a decade ago. A family of 3. Kind of like the ones we have now. The man was some kind of businessman, and he used to travel a lot. His wife was a housewife, and they had a 4-year-old girl. The wife had some kind of ongoing mental disorder. Depression, I think. Some kind of psychosis. She would hear voices or see things. She was taking medication for it. At one point, she began to believe that her husband no longer loved her. That he was plotting to kill her. This is going to be another long one. It could have been the long hours alone, or maybe this was slowly descending into, or maybe she was slowly descending into madness. But at some point she broke, and in a moment of madness, she killed her daughter and herself. I asked the real estate agent in which room she'd done it, and she said she didn't know. But I think I have a pretty good idea of where it happened. The house stayed vacant for a long time. Bad mojo, I guess. There were a couple of residents in between, but most stayed for a short time then moved on. I guess they either saw something or felt uneasy. The house had been empty for almost 3 years before we moved in. What happened to the previous sitter? Tell me about this lady in the basement. I heard the sounds about a week ago after we moved in here. First, the basement door kept opening by itself, always when I was alone in the lounge. I was too scared to go near it, so I kept ignoring it. I thought it was maybe a draft. Once it opened when Ma was with me, and she just shrugged and said that the door was stiff, and so it sprang open. She said we would get it fixed. But then oh my gosh! But then one day I heard the weeping. Then I could not help myself. I went to the door and I went down there and I saw her. I've been living in terror ever since. I hear her some nights. Sometimes she just weeps. Other times she wanders the house. Nobody believes me. Mom and Dad think I'm making it up to get them to leave here and go back to our old life. I don't want the lady. I don't know what the lady in the basement wants, I don't even know what she is. But when I saw her, I sensed such rage, such despair. I know she wanted to harm me, even kill me if she could. But I knew at once who she was. She was the lady from the story. The story that the real estate woman who got us this house told us. I guess you mean Nadia? She saw the lady in the basement. That's how I think of that thing down there. In caps, Nadia heard her crying. She thought it was me and she went down into the basement to investigate. When I found her, she was screaming and hysterical. I could barely understand what she was saying. She said the woman came at her. She called my mom and told her that she was leaving the house, that she didn't want to stay a moment longer. Ma was furious and asked her why, but Nadia would not say why. I mean, it sounds crazy when you think about it. Think about it out loud. So I don't blame her. Also, I think Nadia didn't even want to think about what she saw, let alone talk about it. She was so shaken. Nadia was up here with me when Ma was talking to her on the phone. She just listened to Ma wordlessly, and then she left without a word. When Ma came home, she was furious with me. With you? Let me guess, she thought you scared her away. Yes, she thought I subjected Nadia to my wild tales and scared her away. Gosh, that's why I didn't want to tell you anything about all this. I just wanted you to stay away from that basement. Because I knew you wouldn't believe me. Because I didn't want Ma to say that I scared you away. That's pretty crazy. Hasn't your mom and dad seen or heard anything? If this is all elaborate fiction, some kind of prank, I'd be pretty amazed. Now, they said they haven't. Maybe they have. Maybe they're just blocking it off or something, or explaining it away. I'm pretty sure they haven't heard that horrible crying. You wonder how any of this is possible. Could any of this be real? Do you believe me now? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Maybe. I don't know yet. Yeah. Wow, thank you. It's great that at least someone doesn't think I'm crazy. It's been living with us for a while now. I'm losing weight. The counselor at school thinks it's because of the move and the changes in my life, but I know why it is. It's hard for me to concentrate in class. I keep thinking about her. All of the madness that drove her to kill her own daughter and take her own life. And I'm scared. And I get scared. What if I go mad like that? Maybe that's what she wants. Did you try telling your counselor the truth about all this? I'm sorry to hear that. I did. How do you think it went? He started talking about putting me on medications. I don't want that. I don't want to be one of those kids, a walking zombie hopped up on prescription drugs. So after I went with his story. Yeah, it was the change. Poor old Maya misses her old school and her friends. Look, just leave, okay? Leave this house and go. I'm stuck, and I have no choice, but you do. I won't leave you alone. I'll wait for your parents. You're right. I'm getting the heck out of here. That's nice of you. But it's dangerous. I can't ask you to do that. What if something happens to you? Nadia, the previous sitter, I think she saw something terrible down there. Sometimes I think that maybe the lady in the basement is looking for her child. Maybe mothers who hurt their children are never able to forgive themselves, even after they die. You should go. Ma will probably blame me again, but I'll handle it. Alright, if you insist, I'll leave. I told you I'm not going to leave you here alone. I'll wait until your parents are back. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. And brave. I wish I was that brave. Would you mind if I go to bed now? I'd like to try to sleep. I'm really exhausted. Sure. Good night. Try to get some sleep. Well, you're back downstairs again. We're going to hear the door. You're going to sit tight. You know you're doing the right thing. No matter what, it wasn't right to abandon her and flee. Not when her parents asked you to watch her. The kid is right, after all. And leaving her alone while her parents are away, especially after they entrusted her in your care, just didn't feel right. And if it is true, the insane story of the woman in the basement, why you're going to have to deal with whatever comes. Time passes. I'm gonna hear the basement door again? Nothing so far. Don't say that. Crap. Here we go again. Now I hear footsteps. Footsteps from somewhere down below. From the basement. You just had to open your mouth, didn't you? The basement door. That was the basement door again. You've got to see this through. You're not running away. You have to find out the truth. Even though your heart is running so hard that your fear it might crash. Can any of what Maya said be true? Now it's wide open this time. It's wide open. The sounds are coming from down there. We're gonna get a jump scare. A smell comes wafting up. A foul stench of corruption, of something long gone to rot. Ew. The smell is overwhelming, overpowering. It hits you like a fist. What terrible thing walks down there? Go downstairs. Why is this ever a good idea in any horror movie situation? Because the character's dumb. It's pitch black. That smell, it's unbearable here. It's difficult to think. There are moldy boxes piled up at the center of the room. Oh. It's the lady. Who's there? You feel a sense of foreboding, a suffocating blackness overwhelm you. Darkness descends, clouding your mind. You can't move. You cannot move. Cannot even breathe. Terror grips you. A despair unlike anything you've ever known fills you. You sink into it. Grief rising in you like a black tide. Okay, you can stop getting closer now. How about that? Now listen. Okay. You find yourself slumped over the sofa in the lounge. Your head aches. Your hands are shaking. You spring to your feet. Whew. And you're up. Yep. When did you get back? Wait, what happened to me? Oh, I don't know what to ask. Let's go that one. We found you downstairs in the basement, of all places. You were lying on the floor, passed out. Maya told us to look for you there. When we got home, we found Maya upstairs, quite shaken. She was near hysterical. She told us what she heard you scream, and that you might be hurt. She told us that she heard you screaming that you might be hurt in the basement. It took us a lot of effort to calm her down. She kept saying it was her fault, that she should not have accepted you and she kept saying it was her fault, that she should not have accepted when you insisted you stay. She said that you talked to her about what she calls the lady in the basement. She said that you told her you believed her. It's shameful that you would encourage her like this, play along with the delusions of a child. Raya will be here in a moment. She wants to talk to you before you go. Oh boy, we're in trouble. Goodbye. We're in trouble now. We fired. Well, we believed her, and now we probably lost the job. Hey, Mom would kill me if she sees me talking to you, but I had to see I had to see you before you left. Did you see her? The lady? Did you see her? Yeah. Yes, I did. I'm not sure what I saw. Yeah. I knew it. You see, I was telling the truth. Thank you for believing me. I'm so glad you're not hurt. I can't believe that you stayed on despite what you knew. I know that must have taken a lot of courage. That means a lot. Maybe I can be like that and have that kind of courage too. I'm sure you can. You're courageous already. Thank you. Well, I really have to go now before Ma sees me talking to you. She'll come down hard on you. That's just the way she is. Don't feel bad. Until she sees it too, she will never believe. I'm sorry all this happened to you. You never asked for this. Yeah, I didn't. Will you be okay? Well, I know I'm not crazy now. And you went down there and faced her. I'm going to try and face my fears and be brave too. I wouldn't recommend going down the basement. Thank you for showing me that I can. Bye. Oh, here we go. We in trouble now. I must say that I am sorely disappointed. You put you in charge of looking after her. And I'm just going to call him Andy. And Andy finds you lying passed out in the basement. He says you weren't drunk or on drugs, but I find that hard to believe. At least you stayed on, unlike our past sitter, who left the child alone and fled. But I'm not sure I should be grateful for that, considering the situation. You encouraged my daughter's sick fantasy, and you've probably set back our progress with her by weeks in doing so. Your daughter isn't lying. There is really someone or something in this house. I don't know. I don't believe it at first, but... Really? So she dragged you into her hysteria and you believe all of it? This is exactly what a counselor wanted us not to do. Since you work with children, I thought you'd know better. There's nothing wrong with mine. It's this house. I guess. I don't know. I'm sure I saw something. Goodbye. We'll be passing on our feedback to your agency. And with that, we're done. Can we still interact with the note? Well, that didn't go as you planned. You've been shown out rather unceremoniously. Mrs. Raj was certainly furious. So was Dr. Raj, but what Maya said, what you saw in there, the sense of abject despair washed over you in the dark. As you leave, you turn to look at the house. You think of all that happened, and you wonder. One week later, babysitter needed urgent. The end. Well, that's the end of the third game. I feel like the last two are. And that's the end of the babysitter. And like always, we're going to give our final thoughts to each one. So, the first one, funeral, kind of liked it. At first, I thought we were playing as some guest, but then at the end, after talking to Matthew, Priya, and the mother, we found out that we were actually playing as our dad. As the dad. And it's kind of sad when you find out how you really are through the eyes of someone else. Or just hearing it straight from... Because we're all oblivious to our own actions until it actually comes from someone else. The game was 20 minutes or so, which was, pretty long. I didn't have to do a lot of walking around and stuff. I like games when I can read, but then I have trouble reading. But anyways, on to game number 2, Umbra Mortis. The game was pretty long, not gonna lie. And I wasn't expecting us to turn into the monster creature, but at the end of it looked like we did. The game didn't give much direction on, what caused it. Whether it was causing it. Sounded like a virus that could cause a zombie outbreak, but the game didn't give us much to go off of on where it come from, how it got started. So that was a kind of odd. But I did like the twist ending. I guess we became the monster. And finally, which brings us to this. This game was pretty lengthy too. But I like that we didn't leave and we stayed until the end. Even though we lost our job, we stayed until the end, and we believed her. We believed the kid at the end. But at the end of the day, we did end up losing our job. But I guess that was a risk we were going to take. I think this one was by far probably my favorite. They were all good. The last two were pretty lengthy, but I think the babysitter was kind of my favorite one at the end. Too bad Nate's not here to give his opinion, but you guys got my thoughts. I am going to post all these in the description box below if you would like to go try these out for yourself. And that's going to conclude this episode of 3 Games That Are Scary. I'm Jeff Bloodbrain. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you next time.